You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. A significant chunk of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is made up of short quote passages from other writers. This is because Marcus wasn't necessarily trying to produce an original work. Instead, he was practicing, reminding himself here and there of important lessons. Sometimes these lessons were things he had read. This particular quote is special because it comes from a play by Euripides, which, except a handful of quoted fragments like this, is lost to us. From what we can gather about the play, the hero comes to doubt the existence of the gods, but in this line he is saying, why bother getting mad at causes and forces far greater than us? Why do we take these things personally? After all, external events are not sentient beings. They cannot respond to our shouts and cries, neither can the mostly indifferent gods. That's what Marcus was reminding of himself here. Circumstances are incapable of considering or caring for your feelings, your anxiety, or your excitement. They don't care about your reaction. They are not people. So stop acting like getting worked up is having an impact on any given situation. Situations don't care at all. This is from a book called The Daily Stoic. In this book, every page is a meditation you read once a day. Most of them are less than a page long. And I thought it was a good idea to start off a video with one of these meditations because I do it every morning, mostly every morning. And I want to be making daily videos. So I think this is a good little ritual. Anyway, this is from January 18th. See the world like a poet and an artist. Pass through this brief patch of time in harmony with nature and come to your final resting place gracefully. Just as a ripened olive might drop, praising the earth that nourished it and grateful to the tree that gave it growth. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. There are some stunningly beautiful turns of phrase in Marcus's Meditations, a surprising treat considering the intended audience, just himself. In one passage, he praises the charm and allure of nature's process. The stalks of ripe grain bending low, the frowning brow of a lion, the foam dripping from a boar's mouth. We should thank the private rhetoric teacher, Marcus Cornelius Fronto, for the imagery in these vivid passages. Fronto was widely considered to be Rome's best orator. Besides Cicero, he was chosen by Marcus's adopted father to teach Marcus to think and write and speak. More than just pretty phrases, they gave him, and now us, a powerful perspective on ordinary or seemingly unbeautiful events. It takes an artist's eye to see that the end of life is not unlike a ripe fruit falling from a tree. It takes a poet to notice the way baking bread splits in places in those cracks. Baking bread splits in places in those cracks, while not intending in the baker's art. Catch our eye and serve to stir our appetite. There is clarity and joy in seeing what others can't see, in finding grace and harmony in places others overlook. Isn't that far better than seeing the world as some dark place? This is January 28, Watching the Wise. Take a good, hard look at people's ruling principle, especially of the wise. what they run away from, and what they seek out. Seneca said, "Without a ruler to do it against, you can't make crooked straight." That is the role of wise people in our lives, to serve as a model and inspiration, to bounce our ideas off and test our presumptions. Who that person will be for you is up to you. Perhaps it's your father or your mother. Maybe it's a philosopher or a writer or a thinker. Perhaps WWJD, what would Jesus do, is the right model for you. But pick someone, watch what they do and what they don't do, and do your best to do the same. Yeah, let's go! Fuck. Let's go. Is my computer still humming? No. Okay. It's Vinci, and I'm back with my dream. my vision. This video is something I have had in the works for a while, and I am now just starting to execute it. So let's go. I'm Bob Ross. We all know this. I always wanted to be Bob Ross. He laid out the perfect blueprint for artists, and now it is my turn to follow his path, because it's genius. What you're seeing in the background is me painting, and this is a painting titled "Above the Clouds" from December 2018, completed in San Francisco, California. An angel painted with acrylic on a canvas stretched with Goyard fabric. Where do I go from here? I don't know. The whole process is very melodic and very tedious, and on its own, this footage would probably never see the light of day because it's like watching paint dry, to be honest with you. It's a very, very slow process, and it takes a lot of patience. It's hard. It makes you stressed out and you struggle, but at the end of the day, I love the process. It's all about building up the layers, starting with nothing and creating this 3D form on a 2D surface. And to do that, you start by building your image. For me in particularly, I use the darks and the midtones, and I cover the image completely, making sure the canvas is full of paint, or the subject matter. I left the canvas pretty blank because I like the fabric that it's stretched on. Anyway, you build it up. It's like a house. You gotta start with the framework. You gotta start with the small steps, the little things. Actually, not really the little things, because generally the idea is you're building up these shapes with very little details. You're just laying in the colors, you're laying in the values, you're creating a form. And then you can go back over and you can go crazy with the details. You can start doing whatever your little heart desires with all of the little stuff like you see me doing now. The canvas is covered and I'm going in with lighter tones. I'm bringing the areas I want forward. Like a mentor once told me, the dark areas in a work of art recede while the light come forward. So generally, if you want something to be hidden, unnoticed. Make it dark. If you fuck up, make it dark. All you gotta do is enjoy the process, because there are no real mistakes. There are no losses. Even though I feel like I lose every day as an artist. Yeah, so for this painting, and like much of my other paintings, I primarily used black and white because I see values very well, and you can break almost any image down into variants of black or white. It's just something I see and I process very well. Some people see color differently, or some people see and feel color like I feel the value scale. It's all about every individual. Everyone's different. But for me, once you have that basic value scale, you can build up with color with ease. Color is almost an add-on. The value scale is the basis of every image. And what you can do is build an image in black and white and then go into it with color. So that way you're only thinking about one thing at a time. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I only need to focus on one thing at a time. But in the past, if you don't know, there are what's called underpaintings. And an underpainting is essentially the rough, I want to call it a sketch. It's not a sketch, but I want to call it a sketch because it's under the main finishing coat of paint that's going to remain unseen. Nobody's going to see it. So it can be rough, it can be jagged, it can be fucked up. It doesn't have to be perfect, which is why you do it, because nobody's perfect and nobody's going to get a work of art stellar on their first try. Even this angel, I don't know how many hours I spent wrestling with this angel, even though it looks exactly how I want it to. You gotta build it like a house. You gotta start somewhere. And it doesn't matter if you aren't very skilled or even if you're new to art. I have a lot of people who tell me, oh, I'm not good. What, like they tell themselves no before they even start, and in the process they take away a lot of joy from themselves because they forget, in the struggle for perfection, they forget that it's all just fun anyway. It's arts and crafts, man. Like this isn't serious. It's pigment on a piece of fabric. At the end of the day, and over the course of hundreds, thousands of years, none of it's really gonna matter anyway. None of it's gonna last. All of it's gonna disappear. You might as well enjoy the process. Take your time. Have fun making it. Because I've made a lot of paintings that they turned out great, but I don't look back at them fondly because I was stressed out the entire time I was making it. I was unhappy. I was fixated on perfection and making it a masterpiece. Which, by the way, that's the fastest way to unhappiness, is to try to create a perfect work of art. Don't do it. I don't recommend it. It's not for everyone. It's not even for me, and I'm a professional fine artist. My fan just turned on my computer, and it's very loud. Sorry. So we go through details. We work out little little details in an image, in a shape, in a form. The process of working through a piece of art is not easy. It's not something you should just have ingrained in your DNA. It's not something you should just inherently know. It's a skill, like many other things. It takes practice, it takes patience. You're not going to get it on your first try. You're not going to get the effects you want to on your first try. But at the same time, you can use that to your advantage. Because the second oil painting I ever did was a 6x4 feet portrait figure of a millionaire, and it took me a whole summer. And I spent weeks and days just drawing and working out all the little details before I even touched canvas. Started in a sketchbook. Started visualizing how I wanted things to look and how I wanted the finished product to be, and seeing all the problems that might arise in the details I am laying down, which is the most important tool you have as an artist. I'm assuming a lot of you are artists out there, because why else would you be here? So get a sketchbook. Like Leonardo da Vinci, he was known for his ability to see things as they are. He had a very sharp eye. And when he dove deep into details, he could just see them better than other people because he looked more intently at things most people don't even consider. He went out of his way to see the beauty in things. He went out of his way to notice all the all the little details that make up a greater whole. Because the greater whole is made up of little details, and if you don't understand both, you can lose sight of your vision. You can lose sight of the very essence of the object you are trying to portray. Because that's what the end goal is. You are trying to capture the essence, the soul of the world, the soul of an angel. You are trying to make your painting come to life. I don't know who said this, but it was along the lines of, when you're making a work of art, you want it to feel like the subject is going to be there one moment and gone the next. You want to make it feel like a window into a new world instead of just a painting. That's what captivates the viewer. That's what keeps people watching, is that feeling, that soul. You want it to feel like your subject is gonna move and be gone in the next moment, so the viewer better be watching. They better be intent. And when you get all the little details right, first off, when you get the essence of the bigger picture, and then you dive deeper into all of the little details, you get that essence and you make your work of art feel alive. And the only way to do that is to put a lot of fucking work in. There's no hiding around it. There's no special magic involved. You just gotta put in the work. Spend some time in a sketchbook. Spend some time drawing. are to spend their whole lives doing just that. So be patient. Where do I go from here? Let's keep talking about Da Vinci. So Da Vinci, one of his most spectacular traits is he was a Renaissance man. He dove into any and every field of knowledge that he could, from studying anatomy to designing war machines for kings, or the flight of a bird, the movement of water, the movement of wind, to rocks, plants, babies. One of the more interesting things he tried to capture was something I briefly spoke about before, but when he was drawing or capturing people, yes, there's a physical element. Yes, there are physical shapes. But he wanted to capture the motions of someone's mind. Like in The Last Supper, for example. He wanted the figures in his work of art to have thoughts, to have expressions, to have things going on in their head. And to do that, Leonardo dissected cadavers. He studied every bone, muscle, tendon in the face. He studied how each muscle moves which part of the face, or which bone, I don't know. He studied every minute detail, which bones hold what in place, or all of the stuff nobody ever considered before him, and for hundreds of years after, never considered after. He was a revolutionary. He changed the world in no small sense of the word. All because he trained his sense of sight. He was disciplined in capturing the little details he saw. He was disciplined in the artistic process, and not only the artistic process, he paid his dues in his studies. The reason the Mona Lisa is the Mona Lisa is because it was the accumulation and one of the final works of a genius. Towards the end of his life, everything that was leading up to that point was what created the Mona Lisa. And I am going to find the Mona Lisa you see today is not the Mona Lisa he created. First of all, there's two versions. If I remember, I'll put both of them on the screen right now, because I definitely like the alternative version way better than the original. The, quote, original has been damaged. It's been carried through 500 years, so who knows what changes maybe. Anyway, I'm going to look up the real description from close to when it was created, and I'm going to read them to you. Okay, so this is the Mona Lisa described by Vasari. I don't know if this is the complete quote, but that luster and watery sheen in the lady's eye is spot on. Just her mouth does indeed unite the red of the lips to the flesh tints of the face and nose, with its beautiful nostrils and rosy, tender She truly appears to be alive. Now it's said that the Mona Lisa had eyebrows. I believe the Mona Lisa looked very different from the last paint strokes Leonardo painted on it than what we see today. And that's interesting because the Mona Lisa is seen as perfection, even though it's if you look at it like you've never seen it before. Yes, it's straight from Leonardo da Vinci's hand, but as it is today, it is aged. It is, I don't want to say it's lackluster, but because I've never seen it in person, but it is not what it used to be. And I don't know how I know that, but I just get the sense. So yeah, Leonardo, I believe he spent 6 years painting this. Okay, so step back. He painted the first one, and it was left unfinished, but it was so beautiful, and I believe it was true to what the model he painted looked like. And then the second version he painted over the course of 6 years, and he kept it until he died, I believe. And he kept working on it, and he kept adding these thin, transparent layers. So when you glaze oil painting, which is what that is, thin, transparent layers that are glossy, when you do that to a painting, the colors do something very spectacular. The white on the very bottom of the surface you're painting shines through the transparency, and when it's lit up through an external force, external light, it makes the painting appear backlit. It makes it come to life, and it's very hard to show in pictures. You almost have to see it in a museum or see a work of art that's been glazed before you have to see it to truly understand how spectacular it is. It takes a long time to do those paintings, and not many people do them because it takes so long, and because we live in a world that's very fast-paced. There's not enough time to spend 6 years on a single oil painting. So we get a lot of alla prima, which is wet on wet paint. And it looks good. It's good. It's your traditional paintings, and it's fast, it looks good, yada yada, but it's not the same effect you get from glazing. How long is this fucking video? How long is this fucking audio gonna take me to edit? Anyway, that's another reason why patience is the key. Leonardo spent 6 years working on a single work of art. Well, he had others he worked on too, but the process of 6 years in a work of art is a good reminder that your painting is not going to be finished in a few hours. Your painting is not going to be done in a short period of time. So you gotta remember, the most important thing is the journey is the way. The process is the reward. Art and the ability to create art is the only thing you really need. Sure, money's cool, and I want more money, but I'll be broke for the rest of my life if I get to paint and do what I want every time. Money's secondary. This journey I'm on, this path that I've taken is a lifelong journey. And I rush and I get impatient, just like you. I'm not perfect. Yeah, my art looks cool, but I fuck up more than you can possibly imagine. The majority of the art I create is garbage. It is because I create all that garbage that I can create something worthwhile, like what you're seeing on the screen. And I end up giving a lot of art away. The majority of the art I create doesn't sell. Nobody wants it. I give it away. I give it away to the people who are close to me and people who are around me. Or sell it for dirt cheap. And that has brought me more value than I could have ever imagined in my entire life. Because I grew up in a small town in Colorado, in the middle of nowhere. Long, cold, dark winters, one stoplight, 1,000 people, 100 kids in my whole high school. Nobody left. Nobody did anything. The biggest thing that happened in the town was high school kids winning state championships occasionally. But other than that, nobody leaves. Nobody does anything. They work their jobs. They go home. And I saw that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be there in this town for the rest of my life with the same people. So I started making art. And I started giving it away. And a painting is one of the most powerful gifts you can give someone because you took all the time to create it. You took all the effort and energy to produce each and every little detail. And seeing someone's face light up when you give it to them is worth more than the painting's weight in gold. And that's why I do what I do. I'm on this journey to mastery, just like Da Vinci. Out here creating every single day, learning as much as I can in every and any possible field. Because it's all important. It's all connected. It all matters. And the accumulation of all of the different fields makes up the larger picture. Brings a lot of wisdom. Brings a lot to my works. It's cool, man. Life is good when you get to wake up every single day and do what you want to do and share it with the people who matter to you. What's better? I don't know how long I've been talking. It feels like too long, so I'm gonna wrap it up right here. I have prints available on my website. The link is down in the description. Follow me on Instagram. I make TikToks. I make these YouTube videos. What else? Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. This video is probably gonna get like 2 likes. So anything helps. Anything helps me grow my little practice that I have here in art. I appreciate all of you. If any of you made it to this point in the video, I'll see you next time. Bye.